Welcome. You are about to take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show. For the next hour, allow her to prepare you in becoming a magnet for a profound love-infused relationship by identifying and focusing on solutions through love. Awaken the light within and let your essence shine. And now, here's Deborah Beauvais on Love by Intuition, all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Welcome, everyone. Bonjour, mes amis. And yes, here I am, Deborah Beauvais, and as I always say, founder and owner of the syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. And if you're tuning in for the very first time and you're wondering who we are a Boston-based, fully producing internet radio station with all the bells and whistles where you can listen anywhere in the world. You can listen in your car as well. You can ask Alexa. You can go on numerous podcast directories. If you have a favorite one, Spotify was one. You can find all our shows there as well. And Bob is in the house. This is a live show. Our number here, if you'd like to call in and ask a question or a comment of our amazing guest, it's 833-220-1200. Again, 833-220-1200. Well, I have a couple of young ladies that are actually on our station. But first I want to talk about who they are, and they are with, and actually Dr. Emily Cabrera and Katie Krych. They are with Dual Minds Integrative Psychiatry. And Dr. Emily Cabrera is actually a founder and co-owner of that psychiatry group. We're going to be asking them all kinds of questions, discussing their nursing careers, their journey, and what integrative psychiatry is all about, what the approach is different from the one that we're, the clinical, conventional way that we're so used to. And on their show, they're actually on every Friday, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., and I love their name, Paperclips and Periods Podcast, and they focus on women's emotional well-being, healing, and identity. So check that out. As I said, anywhere you are, you can tune in. So without further ado, welcome Dr. Emily and Katie.
Oh, thank you so much. That was such a nice introduction. This is Emily.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome so much, but it's also deserving because, I mean, a little bit just your education, both of you. Emily, you're a nurse practitioner, a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. You've got a PhD. You've got other credentials. And then Katie has an MSN, Master's in Nursing, and she also is a school nurse, which a certified one, should I say, and not everybody realizes what that entails, but it's a big job. And she's a professional educator in that school nurse, teaching all these kids so they can, what we were talking about before the show started, 2 of my grandchildren are going to college for nursing. I don't think they know at this juncture what focus they have, but they talked about pediatrics, as all the young women do. But anyways, it's exciting to have clinicians and people making a difference like yourselves. So let's start with a little bit about your journeys. I know Katie, I can't believe it, she has 5 kids and working full-time.
I can't believe it either.
Right?
Yeah, I have 3 daughters, and one of my daughters has 4 girls. I can't imagine, what 5 would do. But Emily, do you have any offspring?
I have identical twin girls that are 11 years old, and they are the light of my life. I love them. as much as my husband. But
isn't
I love
it funny
my girl.
how that works? Yeah, it's funny how that works, that love stuff.
Right.
So back to Katie. What are the ages of you? How does that span?
So my, I call them my first round and my second round. My first round, 20 years old. She'll be 21 this year. I have an 18-year-old. He's my only son. I've got 4 girls and 1 boy. And then my 16-year-old just turned 16 on Sunday. I have a 7-year-old. Thank you. We had a ball. And then I have a 1-year-old. She is our rainbow baby, our miracle. She completes us. We're so glad to have her.
Wow! What a range that is. But
oh yes.
If the older ones aren't working or out at school or wherever they may be, they can help. But you never know. You never know. That's a big plate you have. So now let's start with Emily. Do you mind if I call you Emily and not Dr. Emily?
I answer to anything besides a swear, so yes.
Okay.
Emily is perfect.
Well, I won't be swearing on radio. No, but tell us about your, a little bit about your journey in life and why you chose to go into nursing and specifically in the psychiatric world.
Sure. So I think the very abbreviated version is I never thought I was smart enough to go to college, honestly, in high school. And my mom said to me, "You're down a road that is not going to look good." So I went to a community college, and I actually went for dental hygiene and practiced as a dental hygienist first. My grandmother had 6 kids. She said to me, "Absolutely not. You're not going to be dependent upon anybody else, and you're going to become a dental hygienist and make enough money to support your family." Okay, that's what I'm doing. And then I hated it. So when my mom was a nurse, and when my grandmother was passing away, my mom was her hospice nurse. And I was 26 years old, and I thought, that's what I want to do. That's 100% what I want to do. So I went back to school, and I got my associates in nursing, my bachelor's in nursing, my master's in nursing, my doctorate in education. And then life, happened the last 20 years that I was a nurse, and I quickly realized that all the Western medicine that I was trained and taught, because I was a dean of nursing and I was in nursing academia at the same time as being at the bedside, and I quickly realized that something's deficient. So when I went back to school to be a nurse practitioner, you have to be trained in Western medicine. But after that, I took an integrative approach, and now I do integrative psychiatry, and I love it, and my clients love it, and we're doing a good thing, trying to heal one person at a time.
Yes, very good. Wow. So you've got quite a bit of academia in under your belt. Yes. So Katie, how about you? When you started young, you chose nursing. Was there a reason why you chose nursing? And then, mental health, psychiatric?
So nursing actually chose me, but I started, nursing is actually my second career. My first one, people person through and through. I did hair. And long story short, my 16-year-old had a medical condition while I was pregnant with her, and everything changed. Everything absolutely changed. And it chose me, and I decided to pay it forward. That is truly what happened. So I was fast-forwarded into healthcare and into emergency medicine and into caring about human beings, because I like to say nursing is 90% people, 10% medical, so you really have to understand who a human being is, and that brought me right to mental health. I started teaching mental health as a college professor in an undergrad nursing program, and I was like, okay, here I am. I finally figured out what I want to be when I grow up, and here I am, mental health, and in school as a mental health nurse practitioner as well. So again, in school.
Katie, we love you. You are so smart.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I can't believe how much you all have on your plate. But, women are always so busy and a lot of times we don't say no. So we take on a lot. And then the other thing is when you want to make a difference in humanity and help others, then you tend to work more hours and such. And it's very rewarding, I believe. So back to Emily. Tell us about integrative psychiatry. What differs with the integrative piece versus classic psychiatry?
Well, Western medicine psychiatry is very grounded in treating the symptoms. So you go see a psychiatrist or a nurse practitioner that specializes in psych land, and they will prescribe a psych med, like ADHD meds or antidepressants. And while those might have a function in the interim, the goal is to not keep you on those medications. But that's what winds up happening. And the longer you see one of those practitioners, then you get another medication to offset the medication that they just gave you, and you just kind of spiral down this yuck. And I just realized, no, like that's happened in my family and, personally, and it's a Band-Aid to not goodness. So I took it upon myself to learn more, and I found that the feelings that I had, that there has to be something more to fix the problem, was grounded in integrative psychiatry. So it's more of a naturopathic approach, and we deal with sleep and supplements and your diet and exercise and therapy and dealing with the root cause. So really finding out, maybe this is actually something that you never even realized that you had, like a gluten allergy, and that's causing your issues. So while I can prescribe psychiatric medications, and I was certainly trained in that, my goal is to keep you off of the psychiatric medications. I have so many patients that come to me to be tapered off of the psych meds that maybe their primary care physician or another psychiatrist put them on because they want to feel better. So my goal is to really help with that root cause. It's a different approach.
Yes, and I thank you for that. It's really integrative medicine is what we're talking about. It's just when you hear psychiatry next to integrative, you start to wonder, well, what is that really? But it's the same as when you're going to, like, my physician is an integrative MD. Yeah. And so they look at the whole person, they spend time with that person, it isn't 10 minutes, and they're not offering meds and things, even regular allopathic type of meds where, here's the high blood pressure, and here's this, and here's that. So I thank you for that. And we've had some experience in our family with the situation with meds, and you're exactly right. A lot of times what happens, and they start early with the teenagers, what happens is they'll start with one and then add another to offset a symptom or two. And I have a voice, but I do not voice. Well, all my girls know how I feel. But when I hear that, it's like, oh my gosh, so early. And yet some of the young kids since I think, the pandemic, a lot of kids experience some heavy duty, issues with not interacting socially, spending more time alone back then, and not getting the work done, and having the pressure, and just not seeing your friends. So I think a lot of the kids, are you finding the same thing with these kids that were in school at the time of the pandemic?
Oh, it's been horrible.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, horrible. They all have, general anxiety disorder. They might have feelings of self-worth, and loneliness. And, you know, like I tried telling the parents, there isn't a pill to fix that. You need to work on building up their self-esteem and their confidence and get them socialized, and I can help them with the dysregulation, but really, you know, what we need to do is get them in therapy and get them some friends and, you know, experience life. But we're from a culture where just give me a pill. I remember working in the hospital. I worked in adult critical care as a bedside nurse, and I walked by a room where a family member was saying to their loved one who was a patient, just take a pill, it'll fix you, just take a pill. And I'm like, oh gosh, that is not going to fix most people. So it's really a lot of education, and that's where my nursing education background of teaching and being, you know, a dean and administration has really helped out, because I do a lot of education. And that's where Katie comes in also. We are both grounded in having the clients be their best advocate, and they have to make informed decisions. So it's a different approach for sure.
And I think, you know, when we think about these kids that have been in the pandemic, you know, what we see in schools are the socialization. We call them the pandemic kiddos. When they were coming in, there was a certain age group that you can tell the difference. You can tell that they're socially awkward. You can tell that, you know, they don't group together like the higher grades have done in the past. And parents don't know what to do with that. And I think a big thing to notice is that the education system and healthcare need to work together for these students in particular, for those COVID babies, because there has to be some social work involved with them. It can't even just be one person. It has to be a full collaborative with family, with, you know, psychiatric therapy, and then also involving the school nurse and involving the school psychologist and the teachers, giving them some education as well. But you see a lot with these COVID babies.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's the self-esteem piece and everything that comes around with that, you know, self-worth. Don't you feel that is, and the listeners have heard me say this a million times, don't you feel that that is something that every young, and men as well, especially, you know, in the LGBTQ community, there's a lot of that self-worth. Isn't that the norm for the human race?
Oh, it just breaks your heart, you know, especially this is some of the stuff that we talk about on our podcast, Paperclips and Periods. You know, little girls, I would say it's probably cultural. There's certainly a cultural perspective, but at least in the United States, little girls are raised to not be advocates for themselves. And what that does is diminish their self-worth in their psyche. I can't advocate for myself. I can't show how smart I am. I can't make boundaries when I'm feeling uncomfortable. So if you're grown, you know, if you're navigating life with not feeling that you have a voice in many, you know, aspects of living your life, then you function like that as an adult woman. So you can, you know, kind of see when people come around to getting psychiatric care and they're having problems in their adult life, one of the first things that we'll do is try to explore some of the trauma that they had as a child. And you know, until they fix that, they're really going to struggle.
Right.
It's deep. Deborah, it's deep. This is serious stuff we're talking about.
Yes. And part of that self-worth in that, I think, is just because of society, as you're speaking. Because, and I mean, and we're free women for the most part in this country. But there's so much pressure to look a certain way, dress a certain way, all of that to be accepted by the kids in school or even adults when you're together with a group of people. I find it, because that's actually, my journey, where you work on that a good part of your life to a place where you actually are comfortable in your own skin, but it's a hard situation because it's everywhere. So I think as you said, Emily, teaching the girls to empower themselves. I mean, it's so important to know the power within. We're all, each one of us, each human being, regardless of culture or any human being, has that innate power because we're both, we're human and we're spirit as well. And I think if we were able to teach more of the spirit part to the kids when they're younger, they're already tapped in more than us adults anyway. Then I think that would help them see the value of who they are.
Deborah, Katie and I were actually just talking about that on our podcast.
Oh,
we recorded an episode just a few days ago. And, Katie, maybe you can talk a little bit more about it, but we were talking about, as adult women, this still happens to us. When you are trying to better yourself and you're getting advanced degrees, both of us have numerous degrees, but we enjoy it. It has benefited our life, and it is just something that we've found that works best for us. What happens is other people say, well, why are you doing that? Well, why are you asking me why am I doing that? Because I wanted to. Do you know?
Yes. Well, why ask that question? Why ask those questions? Why is it okay to ask a woman to do that when, you're looking in gender roles? My husband is not, does not have any higher education degrees. He decided to go into trades. And no one asks those questions to him. Why did you decide to move up in management? Why did you decide to move over to this? I feel like those roles, they just package you. And why do people do that? Why is that okay? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Know. Yeah,
and it's not that people want to know about you. It's that we're talking about the people who question you. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's not a genuine interest. So we're still doing those little girl demoralizing, strategies from other people who just maybe don't realize it or they're being purposeful, and we still do it as women.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have well, you make a good point, and probably because I'm not in that circle where they're questioning. I had that more when I was a mom type of thing. But we need to take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk with Katie, and I have a question for you, and then I want to get into the mom guilt because that's been going on for centuries. So everyone stay with us. Don't go away. Bob is in the house. Remember, you can call in, ask these professional educated nurses a question, 833-220-1200. We'll be back.
Experience a different yet profound healing with Reconnective Healing. Includes yet expands beyond any and all known forms of energy healing. The Reconnective Healing spectrum is comprised of the full healing and evolutionary continuum of energy, light, and information. It allows for healings that are not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional, yet go beyond that to bring healing that includes the evolution of your very being and essence. Deborah Beauvais, trained and certified by world-renowned Dr. Eric Pearl, offers appointment hours at Seacock Family Chiropractic in Seacock, Massachusetts. For questions or to set up both distance or local sessions, call Deborah at 508-431-1959. Again, 508-431-1959. Or go to lovebyintuition.com. That's lovebyintuition.com.
Calling all authors. Have you been considering an audiobook? Well, look no further. Come take advantage of Dream Vision 7 Radio Network's unique in-house audiobook production, which includes benefits and bonuses from our radio station. Let our knowledgeable staff guide you to create the audiobook you've always dreamed of without breaking the bank. Check out our full one-stop service from A to Z, including the ACX process. Schedule a free consultation by calling 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or go to DreamVision7Radio.com.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first grade teacher Caitlin Royd DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those two questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowd-funded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, the number 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids Children's Book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back. We are with Dr. Emily Cabrera and also Katie Krych, and they are master's prepared nurses, nurse practitioners. Katie's in school for that, and they have all these special experiences that they can help you out there. So if you would like to call, you can call directly to them at Dual Minds Integrative Psychiatry. It's 508-233-8354, and their website is dualmindpsychiatry.com. Again, the number 508-233-8354. They are working with patients in the aspect of preventative versus fix the issue situation, so that's why they're integrative, which I love. And do tune in to their show every Friday on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., and their Paper Clips and Periods podcasts. So back to you, Katie, and I want to hear from Emily on this as well. As far as the challenges, what do you see as clinicians for young women that are, having babies, and then older women? Do you find there's certain categories they fall into, or is it all across the board?
Oh, it's all across the board. Okay. For me, I have been involved in every single area, with my age span with my kids. I've seen it with being in school nursing, where I'm been with preschoolers and then middle schoolers up until adulthood. I think that they just don't feel safe. They just don't feel safe.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
I know with my practice, with seeing, aside from myself being a woman and a mom and, just dealing with personal life, But with my patients, what winds up happening psychiatry-wise is perinatal mood disorders just kind of spiral because women just don't have good support. They get diminished and demoralized. They're running on zero sleep, and they might have gender role issues. We are expected, I think in today's day and age, to be the breadwinner, also the mom, and the housekeeper, and we are responsible for literally doing it all. And when you're ready to crack, that's when people can really start to spiral. So it should make you nervous because there's a lot on our shoulders that we're carrying with us.
And let me, exactly, and let me elaborate on that safety, because I think, when you say safety, they don't feel like they're in a safe space to be able to express themselves in all of these areas. You are expected to have this role. You're expected to be the perfect mom. You're expected to live through this tired state of mind that you've never been involved with. And if you have any children, older children, while you're having these newborn babies, you're still required, or expected, I should say, to take care of those other children while your body just went through this entire traumatic experience. And you're home. You're staying home with your child because you just had a baby. So it is expected of you to handle the household still. I think that, just like Emily said, those gender roles, they get confusing at that moment. And, you add in hormones, and it becomes an unsafe environment for everyone. This is when you hear the bad experiences with mothers postpartum, whether it be suicidal or trying to hurt their own children.
And just the hormonal imbalances after having a child, that in itself, without any other disorder, is huge. And I don't think that it gets the attention of why, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Usually that's a whole show in itself, whether you're doing bioidentical hormone therapy or whether you're doing the Med-In, which has chemicals and has been proven for cancer causing and all of that. The woman is quite a complex human being, because there's so many things that you're speaking of that we are expected to do, and then you've got all these flares of different things that happen to your body, physically, not to even count the emotional piece. So I want to get over to Emily now. You had some heavy duty issues physically with your own body, but did you treat yourself as you would a patient? And did you get into, I'm going all over the place here now, but did you get into nutrition to help? You had cancer, so you had to address that. Tell us a little bit about how you addressed it.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate in that, my mom was a nurse. She was an emergency room nurse, got burnt out of that, and then went into home care and hospice. But my mom, I was born in 1979, and you have to picture San Francisco. My mom, who was as American, white, like middle class, they were Hare Krishnas, so hippies.
Yes.
In the late 70s. That was my parents. So she already kind of had a very naturalistic perspective because she was a flower child, right?
Yes.
And when I delivered my girls, she really was able to give me some fabulous suggestions that were naturopathic. This was just, it is not to judge anyone. It just worked well for me, but it was a lot. I had twins. I made all of their food for them. I never bought store food for them. I used fenugreek when my breast milk wasn't coming in as much as I needed to breastfeed 2 babies. I had to, then supplement with formula, and I had to figure it out, right? But thankfully my mom was very helpful. And then fast forward, working nonstop, I was raising my children. My husband was helpful, but in some ways he was kind of like a third child because I had to take care of him too. And I say that very lovingly. But my girls were 4, and I got diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? Like, I already work so much, and now I have, health issues. So I actually went to a naturopathic doctor and had hyperbaric chamber therapy. So they gave me oxygen and then vitamin C therapy. And and my tumor literally shrank to the point where the surgeon was able to very strategically, surgically remove every last bit. And she said that this was literally like a miracle. And I was like, yep, well, I went old school. And I used integrative approach. But it changed my whole perspective.
Yes, beautiful.
It saved my life.
Yeah, beautiful. And like you said, everyone's going to make their choice of how and what they choose to do to heal. But when you, because I was back in that making bread and all that when I'm older. Not that old, but anyway, you learn about the things that worked. And I look at a day where the, Western medicine blends with Eastern medicine with whatever's working, combining if you need to, this and that, but to look at the whole body, the spiritual person as well, and then treat accordingly with using all kinds of different things that work together. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be all meds. Yeah, and
it helped me. I needed Western medicine in order to have the surgery, and I need Western medicine in order to follow through with my care. But I was able to go outside of that, and really, I feel like I have enough education to understand the consequences of what could have happened, and I feel like a much more naturopathic pathway saved my life. And when you have 2 4-year-olds, that is a very serious decision. If something had happened to me and it had spread and metastasized, and that's what they were talking about, I could have left my children without a mom. So I had to make a very informed decision, which was, difficult to make, but I'm glad I made that decision. So I try to give the same knowledge to my clients, and then they can make that decision themselves once they can be their best advocates. Right, yeah. Do you find now that both of you are in the clinical world and we're, in the 2026 land, do you feel that more physicians and NPs and just clinical people in general going off on their own or joining and having the concierge type of plans where, and for those that may not be aware, it's you pay a monthly fee, and that's actually what I do with my integrated doctor. You pay a fee every month, but he's there whenever you need them, and in an instant you can get an appointment. And then they follow through quickly. It's just an amazing thing. Do you find that there will be a majority of doctors, NPs, and such that will go on their own or be in a group, a small group?
I think that they're going to start to group together. That's what I think. I think that you're going to see more of these as more comes about with supplementation and with integrative medication or integrative medicine. I think you'll see all these practitioners grouping together versus having them all going out on their own, because like Emily was saying, medicine is still required. We can't forget that is required. So I don't think it will ever be fully only natural. I really think that you'll see the groups having a natural path in the practice within a nurse practitioner who is doing integrative, and to be honest with you, hopeful with physical therapy included in on that, occupational therapy and all of those other physical therapies as well. So I hope that we would be more collaborative versus having just separate little entities.
It's hard because by the time practitioners wind up, for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part, by the time they have their own practice and they're doing concierge medicine or psychiatry or whatever the focus is, it's usually because they're so burnt out from the system, they're like, forget it, I'm going on my own and I'm just not dealing with it. So it is so appropriate, and it's what they need to do, and that's a little bit of how I started off with my own practice. And I think the freedom it gives you is that you're able to, within the confines of your license, you know what your scope of practice is, but it gives you the ability to kind of do what you want and really help the clients to be proactive rather than reactive. The problem that I am finding, as a business owner within integrative psychiatry is the general lay person, Joe Schmo, normal people can't afford it. So how do I meet them in the middle? So now what, Katie and I are doing is we're going to accept some of the insurances, but now I have to get very crafty with how I'm going to bill the insurance company. So that way I cannot be held to the confines of insurance, which loves to dictate how you practice medicine, but yet also not go broke owning a business.
Correct. It's a fine
very
balance.
Difficult, and it takes a lot of energy to do that.
Right. Well, I really, I'm not in it, but I totally understand what you're saying, and it's huge because it's your business, it's your livelihood, and you balance that with serving others and helping others. But I see, I've seen already many groups going together, much like Katie's talking about, where you got the phlebotomist right in there in the office. You've got all these different people, and even with the orthopedics around here, and I think they're in Mass too, where it's orthopedic. Rhode Island. Well, no, it's in Rhode Island, and
they do.
It's groups of where they have PT, OT, speech, and, well, I don't know about speech, but OT, PT, and then they have all kinds of orthopedics, so the whole thing. And that's where everybody seems to be going, because it's still the hospital environment, but the care is detailed, and it's local.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is that you have to really consider the type and quality of care you want. So for me, if I am with an insurance company, I'm finding ways to navigate this, which is very difficult. And some people just are like, forget it, it's too much energy, and I don't have the time to do that, because then I won't be able to, pay my bills as like a business owner. Even though we're practitioners, we're still business owners. But sometimes it's really the quality of care that you're looking for. So in insurance land, and like you could go down the road of being conspiracy theorists and all that. Really, big pharma owns everything. That is the bottom line. Big pharma has their hands in everything. Me as a nurse practitioner, as a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, if I am not prescribing medications to a patient, I technically can't really keep them on as a patient.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to navigate this myself, where my goal is to keep them off of those medications.
Mm-hmm.
So we might wind up doing a little bit of the insurance, but also really being private pay. So that way I can keep them off of that. Do you know what I mean? So like that's kind of where the two worlds meet together.
Right. And there will be plenty of people that have the ability to pay, but you really have to promote and all, because, and then on the other end of the spectrum, there are families that are saving for health care and quality food and until they're able to do it, type of thing, because they see the value. It's less expensive because you're not fixing something, you're not putting a Band-Aid on, you're actually getting to the root cause, so you're not going to the doctors that often. I think more people, maybe not right now with the way the oil in the gas is, but more people see the value and are doing everything they can to do better, to come to your place. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to have you back because I wanted to talk about your coaching program. We will do that. I wanted to get into mom guilt. There's so much to talk about, ladies. So, Bob, take us for a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk about your coaching program, and then I'll have you back.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be loved. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times best-selling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through mayhem to miracles. Sacred stories of transformational hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
To connect with Dr. Emily Cabrera and Katie Krych, go on their site, dualmindpsychiatry.com, just as it sounds. They They also have email there. They have all the different things, and this blog post with educational. It's an excellent website. And then all the different topics they talk about can be heard on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network every Friday, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So let's talk about, when the time is going fast, 8 minutes or so. Tell us about your coaching and how that weaves in, and it's national, correct? Or beyond national?
Yeah, so we do educational advocacy. So, that's for people who maybe have kids that have IEPs or 504 plans, and their kids need special accommodations in school, especially neurodivergent kids. So we have educational advocacy that goes over nationwide. And then we also believe in supporting the person just non-medication-wise, and they're maybe already getting therapy. But we can do life coaching as well. So we have a life coach and a mindfulness coach that is part of our practice. So if we think that, or you think that that's something that you're interested, that's also nationwide.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Katie's amazing. She does most of the educational advocacy, and we certainly need that, because that's a huge
Now, and to
stress
be more
for parents.
specific, educational advocacy is all about the families.
Yeah.
That specifically is so important to mention, because we are supporting the families that maybe don't understand the language of education, maybe don't understand the laws and what they're entitled to. And my position with that is kind of bridging those gaps between a medical diagnosis and the educational system, and how we meet in the middle to provide what these children, they need to be academically successful. So that's specifically, we want those families, we want to help them.
That's excellent. And thank you for explaining that as well, Katie. So in these last minutes, we'll start with Emily. What would you like the listeners to know that we haven't touched upon that's important to you?
I think just, kind of focusing on that integrative psychiatry. It's okay to have, mental dysfunction. I don't know what the right word is, but to feel like you need psychiatric support, and to go get that psychiatric support, but to recognize that it doesn't always need to be going on a pill. There's other things that you can do, and some of that is supplements, diet, sleep. Let's focus on your sleep, really taking a more root cause analysis. And there are people out there like Dual Minds Integrative Psychiatry that can help you through that.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Katie?
Well, I think recognizing that you're human. We're human. We're together. I think that is one of the reasons why we started this together, is for patients to feel like they're heard and to feel that connection and relatability. I think that that's very important moving forward, for patients to feel comfortable to adhere to their new medication regimens. I want people to feel comfortable, and that provides better outcomes. So most important to me, I want people to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Well said, Katie.
Yes, I find this also very exciting, of where we are, what's happening in healthcare, and now with psychiatric nursing. I wasn't aware until Phil, our host Phil George, shared some things about you, and here you are, and I want to just say thank you for helping people, getting to the root causes, offering all kinds of options to help people get the fullness of their life without being totally medicated, or overly medicated, should I say. and getting into all the pieces, because I truly believe that nutrition plays a huge piece in how people feel mentally and physically. So I just want to thank you, and then to start Dual Minds and everything that you're doing, I commend you. It's back where we were talking, where here you both have families, kids. You're doing, your work, your clinical work, and then you're starting a new business and everything. So I applaud you both.
We're trying to work it out. But you are such a great inspiration too, Deborah. Like, you're pretty amazing also. I hope you know that.
Thank you.
We're very blessed.
But I don't know. I just think the clinical piece, and with looking at the whole person, which you both are doing, and it's your mission, is so outstanding. You can't even put words to it, because you're changing the way we look at healthcare, and you're not just talking about it, you're doing it. You're showing people how to live better and choose different ways of doing. And like you said before, Western medicine, there's a place for it, Eastern medicine, alternative modalities, all that. There's a place for all of it to feel healthy and whole. And that's one of the main reasons we're here on Earth, is to enjoy our lives and feel whole. And learn our souls. I always feel our souls have to learn all these experiences, and it isn't all that fun at times. But so thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll have you back. I'll talk with you about June, because that's when there's an opening. But for everyone out there, check them out. Call them. The number is 508-233-8354. If you're listening to this show, share it with other people in your family, extended family members, friends. Call them. Go on their site, dualmindspsychiatry.com. You can email them. As far as the podcast, it's paperclips and periods, all spelled out, paperclips and periods @gmail.com. And listen to it again. Listen to the show, and support them so they can support you, everyone out there, until we meet again, until we come together in love and unity. All of that good stuff. Thank you, ladies, again. Until the next time we come together, au revoir.
Are you seeking a clearer path to love? Then tune in to the Love by Intuition show next week. All designed to your highest good. To contact Deborah Beauvais, owner of Empowered Connections, call her at 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or link on to lovebyintuition.com. Remember, we are all one, and we are all part of the miracle of love.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.